times.
So to make sure I clarify, that's no way to live, and meaning that's a miserable way to live.
It is
and
no
it's
way
terrifying.
to live. It is no way to live.
And my wife's pretty tough.
Yeah.
She's a tough cookie. She survived on the streets of Russia as a child, right?
Yeah.
And her and her brothers and sister.
Yeah.
But here, she's like, it's different now.
Yeah.
And the experience that these women, and this is why, as a podcast for men, it matters that men step up to protect.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you go talk to them. That doesn't mean you go make them feel uncomfortable. But if you see somebody doing something, you say something.
Yeah.
And you don't even necessarily have to say it straight to them. You can go to somebody and be like, hey, there's something about this person.
Yeah.
They're like following that girl around. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
You know, or just keeping an eye out. Just an extra eye that they get to their car. Don't be close. Don't be like staring them down, but like making sure they get to their car. I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've done that before in a parking lot where I was like, man, this doesn't look very great. You know, just the situation that was arising. And I was just like, I just want to make sure that young lady makes right straight to her car. And, you know, and I've even sat in my car and waited for a car to drive off before, you know, like, okay, that person's safe. They're good to go.
Yeah.
Just because I just caught it that something wasn't looking right. Somebody was like hollering at them, you know, or something like that. And so I hate that we live in that type of society. So although our first point is children facing violence, it's also young people, young adults, women facing violence. And so we've kind of talked about being out in town and whatnot, but like in school, you got all these things going on. In a home, you have these things going on. Look, guys, we've got to learn who our neighbors are. We've got to meet our neighbors. You've got to be able to pay attention to some telltale signs. You know, when people are just blowing off the handle and flipping out constantly, it might be something worth looking into. And there are services that you can call that can check on the family, do a wellness check, and it can be completely anonymous. Now, I'm not telling you to just do that to everybody you see something happen, but when you see patterns of explosive behavior, if they're willing to do that out in the open, what's going on behind closed doors?
We have to protect our children. We have to protect our wives and our elderly parents. We have to protect them because there is an enemy out there that walks around like a lion, just like the Bible says, seeking who he can destroy. And, you know, sometimes that lion is bigger than we are. And so we have to be ready with a community, a church, a neighbor, a friend. We have to be ready for when these things are attacking us or attacking our kids.
Yeah, and the social services that we do have, and at times, if it looks like it's going to be necessary, the police, right? Because here's the problem that exists in our day-to-day. If we step in physically, we face all kinds of havoc, right? We face the havoc of civil lawsuit. We face the havoc of being, you know, socially torn apart by people who don't know that you were just trying to help a situation and it escalated this, escalated that, whatever. And so we highly recommend, and I highly recommend, you are not a vigilante.
No.
Call higher authorities to come and solve these situations. When you see something, say something and do something about it, but do it in the proper channels. And I do want to just bring up these recent examples. I don't know if I already did, but I don't think I did, but on the same day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a 16-year-old student in Colorado opened fire, injuring 2 students, and then killed himself. And my heart breaks for the 2 students.
Yeah.
My heart breaks that students have to live in that type of a stress level and fear. Like, is it my school today?
Right.
Is it going to be my school? I can't. I know that shootings happened when I was younger, but it wasn't this common, or it wasn't this politicized and made as available to the whole nation as we can get it in 2 seconds now.
Yeah,
it used to take a while for news to circulate at times, and because not everything was reported on a national level.
Right.
But with the internet and how fast it moves, we know things before the cops know things sometimes.
Right.
And there was also in Minneapolis, there was a Catholic school shooting during Mass, right? 2 children killed, 17 injured.
That's
so
crazy.
we are seeing this, and I hate to say this, rising of events.
Mm-hmm.
But we have got to start going, okay, what's going on here?
I think we have a problem intervening with our family, when it's our family, when we see our family, we know either they're on medication for schizophrenia, or if we know they have a mental problem and we don't say or do anything about it, when we start hearing them say things that could essentially get them in trouble if they set them anywhere else besides your home, that is your sign that you need to do something about this person. Yeah. You got to get this person help, or at least let the authorities or the people who need to know that this person lives here in this neighborhood, because you never know. If you have this is just me. If I knew I had a family member that had mental problems and I knew they owned guns, I'd be having a discussion. If nothing else, with
those things better be locked up.
I'd want to have a discussion with that person or these people, and I'd also want to let the authorities know. Especially if there's been incidents where they got in trouble. People. The right people need to know. Because it takes so long when something bad happens, you don't never know where to look.
Well, and a little bit of what you're saying right there, that requires relationship.
It does.
And that requires being willing.
It does.
To kind of step out and say, man, you may hate me for this.
Yeah. But you don't need a gun.
But this is very dangerous that your guns are not locked away.
Yeah.
And your kids
if they're just sitting in a case.
Yeah. And your kids said some pretty scary things. And you need to not just laugh at it and think, oh, he's just being silly. That's not silly anymore. That's not the world we live in. I seen
it happen with a principal or a teacher. They'll say this, they'll send a letter home. Little Johnny's talking about getting a gun, or he's drawing pictures of guns, and he's talking about killing somebody. But then you say, oh, he would never do anything like that. But yet you let them play with guns at home, or you leave them out where they can get to them.
Right. And so we want to be very clear in this podcast that there's many different reasons. It's not just medicines. Right. It can be all kinds of things. There's chemical imbalances. There's different things that happen. There's abuse that can lead to violent behavior. Yeah. There's neglect that can lead to violent behavior. There's unsafe environments lead to violent behavior. A little bit of my background is I was bullied. And it caused me to want to go have revenge on people that bullied me. I got jumped at one point by several guys, and I literally went, and when I found one by himself, I swung on him. Yeah. And what the problem is, my mind could have easily went to, those three guys overpowered me. That's never going to happen again. Yeah. And then I'm in a dangerous position with where my head's going because I just got beat up by these guys. And I know that does not justify. Because you want justice. They want justice, or they just want peace, or
and your flesh is telling you they deserve this vengeance. Yeah, they deserve it. You
dehumanize people.
Yeah, you do. You turn them into an object of hate.
An object of hate.